Most people are secretly handing over their power every single day without even realizing it, through subtle habits that erode their confidence and leave them vulnerable to manipulation. But in the next 25 minutes, you'll undergo a profound transformation, from someone who constantly seeks external validation and approval, feeling that nagging insecurity, into a bulletproof master of your own destiny, equipped with unshakable self-assurance that commands respect effortlessly. This isn't some vague self-help fluff. It's backed by decades of rigorous research from renowned psychologists like Albert Bandura, whose groundbreaking work on self-efficacy demonstrates how shifting your internal focus can dramatically boost your personal power and resilience in real-world situations. If you've ever felt that gnawing doubt creeping in after sharing an idea, only to crumble internally when no one immediately applauds or agrees, this video changes everything for you, right here, right now. Let me paint a picture you might recognize all too well. You're in a high-stakes work meeting, heart pounding as you pour your energy into presenting a well-thought-out proposal that could change the trajectory of a project. But instead of standing firm in your conviction, you glance around the room, scanning faces for those subtle nods of approval. Or worse, you tack on a hesitant, "What do you guys think?" at the end. And when the response is a lukewarm shrug or, God forbid, silence, that seed of self-doubt sprouts instantly, making you second-guess your entire idea, retract parts of it, or even abandon it altogether to avoid conflict. Or shift to your personal life. In a relationship, you make what feels like a solid decision about plans for the weekend. But then you pause, fishing for your partner's input with a casual, "Is that okay with you?" only to feel deflated if they don't enthusiastically endorse it, leading you to compromise your own desires just to keep the peace. You're not alone in this. In fact, you're noble for being so considerate, always aiming to collaborate and include others, fostering harmony in a world that often feels chaotic. But here's the harsh reality. Others aren't always playing by the same rules. They're manipulative, whether intentionally or not, using tactics like withholding praise, offering vague feedback, or even deploying subtle disapproval to keep you off balance and maintain their upper hand in the power dynamic. They sense your dependency on their validation and exploit it, turning your good intentions into their leverage. And the worst part, this isn't a personal failure on your end. It's the result of deep-seated societal conditioning that's been drilled into us from the cradle. Think about it. From our earliest school days, we're rewarded not just for individual achievement but for group consensus and teacher approval, with gold stars handed out for fitting in rather than standing out. Fast forward to adulthood, and social media amplifies this 1,000-fold, where every post is a plea for likes, hearts, and comments to validate our worth. It's a hidden, insidious trap, engineered by cultural norms to keep the masses dependent, compliant, and easily controlled, preventing true independence. But the emotional toll is devastating. Each instance chips away at your self-worth, opens the door to unnecessary manipulation, and traps you in a vicious cycle of chronic weakness and hesitation. You've likely lost out on promotions because you diluted your bold ideas seeking consensus. Relationships have soured from constant people-pleasing. Even your inner peace suffers from that perpetual undercurrent of anxiety. I see you investing emotionally right now because this resonates. It's cost you dearly in ways big and small. But hold on tight. There's a proven path out of this maze, and we're about to walk it together, step by transformative step. Diving deeper, at the very heart of this power-draining mistake lies a foundational psychological principle known as the locus of control, first conceptualized by the influential psychologist Julian Rotter back in the 1950s. His theory, which has been validated and expanded through thousands of studies, including extensive meta-analyses by the American Psychological Association, essentially divides people into two camps. Those with an external locus of control, who believe their success, happiness, and outcomes are dictated by outside forces like luck, fate, or, crucially, other people's opinions and approvals. And those with an internal locus, who see themselves as the primary architects of their destiny through their own actions, decisions, and mindset. Alarmingly, research shows that a staggering majority, up to 60 to 70% in various populations, lean external, constantly seeking validation as a crutch, which inadvertently hands over their personal power to anyone willing to withhold or manipulate that approval. This principle isn't isolated. It ties directly into universal human behavior patterns shaped by evolution. Back in our ancestral tribes, seeking social approval was a survival mechanism. Being liked meant protection from expulsion, access to resources, and mating opportunities. But in today's hyper-connected, competitive world, this wiring backfires spectacularly, turning us into unwitting puppets in social, professional, and personal arenas, where manipulators thrive by exploiting our innate fear of rejection. It's why charismatic leaders or even everyday narcissists can dominate conversations and decisions without much effort. They project internal control while preying on others' external dependencies. To empower you fully, we're structuring this transformation into 3 crystal-clear progressive levels. First, recognition, where you'll learn to spot this validation-seeking trap in its sneaky forms before it ensnares you. Second, protection, arming you with immediate practical defenses to shield your power in real-time interactions. And third, mastery, where you'll advance to flipping the entire power dynamic, positioning yourself as the unassailable authority others instinctively defer to. Rest assured, this framework isn't abstract philosophy. It's battle-tested and practical, drawing from complementary research like Carol Dweck's seminal studies on growth mindset at Stanford, which reveal that cultivating an internal locus can enhance resilience by as much as 40%, reduce stress levels, and improve overall life satisfaction. By applying these steps, you'll not only understand the theory, but wield it like a tool, turning everyday vulnerabilities into opportunities for victory. But knowledge alone won't cut it. Action will. Let's plunge into the first level and start your ascent. Pattern interrupt. Hold up. Ever noticed how you automatically add a tag question like right or don't you think to the end of your statements? That's the validation trap snapping shut. If that sounds familiar, stop scrolling and pay extra attention here. This is your wake-up call. Kicking off with Level 1. Recognition. Here, we unpack the intricate psychological mechanism driving this common mistake. External validation dependency, which operates like a cognitive bias wired into our brains. At its core, your mind craves those quick dopamine hits from external approval, similar to how addictions form, as evidenced by neuroimaging studies from institutions like Harvard's Department of Psychology. These scans show heightened activity in reward centers when we receive praise, but a corresponding crash when it's absent, leading to habitual seeking behaviors. Shockingly, surveys from the APA indicate that over 70% of adults display this dependencies, i.e. in routine interactions, correlating with elevated rates of anxiety, depression, and suboptimal decision-making in both personal and professional spheres. So, why do the vast majority fall prey to this pattern so easily? It's camouflaged as virtues like politeness, teamwork, or empathy, traits we're praised for cultivating. But beneath the surface, it's a vulnerability that others exploit. Consider a real-world case study. Sarah, a talented mid-level marketing manager at a Fortune 500 company. In team brainstorming sessions, she'd present innovative campaign ideas but invariably dilute them by seeking immediate feedback with phrases like, "Does this make sense to everyone?" or "What are your thoughts right away?" Her colleagues, sensing her hesitation, would use strategic silence or mild critiques to steer the discussion toward their own agendas, resulting in Sarah's concepts being co-opted or shelved. Over 2 years, this cost her 3 potential promotions, as her bosses perceived her as indecisive rather than collaborative. Now, contrast that with historical figures who embodied internal recognition, like Winston Churchill during World War II. Amidst immense pressure, he didn't poll his cabinet endlessly for validation. He recognized his own strategic insights and pushed forward, rallying a nation through sheer conviction. Without that internal anchor, Britain might have faltered. The true aha moment arrives when you connect the dots. Every single time you seek external validation, you're not just being humble. You're broadcasting a signal of weakness, practically inviting manipulators to withhold approval as a control tactic. It's like handing them the remote to your emotional state. Rhetorical question to drive it home. How many opportunities have you missed because you watered down a brilliant opinion just to dodge potential disapproval? That's the insidious pattern at play. To spot it in action, tune into your physical cues, that subtle tension building in your chest or stomach right before you append a seeking cue. Question, or the mental replay after a conversation, wondering if they liked what you said. Those are your red flags. With this heightened awareness, you're already leaping ahead of the 90% who remain oblivious, trapped in reactive mode. Recognition isn't passive, it's the foundation for reclaiming your power, turning blind spots into strategic advantages. Pattern interrupt. Quick mental check. Recall your most recent conversation, whether at work, with friends, or even online. Did you subtly fish for agreement with a glance, a question, or an emoji? If the answer is yes, you're in the majority, but the majority is powerless and easily swayed. Normalcy breeds mediocrity. Let's shatter that cycle starting now with the tools ahead. Building on that awareness, we advance to level 2. Protection. This is where the rubber meets the road. We equip you with concrete, actionable defense strategies and counter techniques to detect and neutralize validation-seeking patterns as they unfold in real time, ensuring your power stays firmly in your grasp. The cornerstone technique here is internal anchoring, a method inspired by cognitive behavioral therapy principles. Before entering any interaction, be it a meeting, date, or casual chat, take a brief moment to affirm silently or even jot down. My value and decisions stem from within. External opinions are mere optional input, not mandates. Groundbreaking research from positive psychology. Pioneer Martin Seligman at the University of Pennsylvania demonstrates that such affirmations can rewire neural pathways for greater resilience, often yielding noticeable improvements in self-efficacy within just a few weeks of consistent practice. To recognize these patterns, live and in the moment, train your radar on key indicators. If someone responds to your statement with ambiguity, like a non-committal or a deflected question, resist the urge to chase validation by probing further with, "Do you agree?" or "What do you mean?" Instead, deploy this precise language script. I've evaluated this approach and decided it's the way forward, because insert your logical reason or evidence. If you have specific thoughts, share them now. This script masterfully retains control in your court while inviting input on your terms, preventing power leakage. For behavioral shifts, embrace silent ownership. After stating your view or decision, simply pause. Hold the space without filler questions or justifications. It might feel awkward at first, that pregnant silence hanging in the air, but that's precisely where the magic happens. Manipulators, deprived of your desperation for approval, often fold or reveal their hand. And the promise? The very moment you implement this, say in your next email or conversation, you'll experience an immediate surge in perceived authority. Others will sense your solidity and respond accordingly. Backing this up, experiments published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology reveal that individuals exhibiting self-assured, non-seeking behaviors command up to 25% more influence in group dynamics, from boardrooms to social gatherings. Another potent counter technique, the echo redirect. When faced with withheld approval or subtle pushback, mirror their response neutrally without emotional investment. I hear you're unsure about this aspect. Then pivot firmly. Here's why it aligns with the goals anyway. Elaborate briefly. This diffuses tension, protects your stance, and shifts the burden back to them, all without escalating into conflict. To make it even more robust, layer in body language cues. Maintain steady eye contact, uncross your arms for openness, and use a calm, even tone. These non-verbals reinforce your internal fortress. If you're dealing with chronic manipulators, like a passive-aggressive colleague or partner, track patterns in a private journal. Note instances where you resisted seeking and the outcomes. Over time, this builds unassailable protection. Rhetorical question. What if the next time someone tries to undermine you with silence, you don't flinch? Instead, you thrive. That's the protective shield we're forging here, turning potential vulnerabilities into impenetrable barriers. Pattern interrupt. Feeling skeptical that this works in heated moments? Test it small. Next time you're tempted to text a friend, "What do you think about this outfit?" or "Is this idea dumb?" Hit delete instead. Embrace the brief discomfort. It's the sensation of raw power flowing back to you, unfiltered and yours alone. Now ascending to the pinnacle. Level 3. Mastery. This isn't about mere survival. It's about domination, where you masterfully invert the power dynamics, transforming from the seeker into the sought-after authority that others instinctively validate and defer to. The advanced technique at this stage is power framing, a sophisticated psychological positioning strategy. Rather than presenting ideas neutrally and opening the floor for approval, frame every discussion around your established internal standards from the outset. For instance, in a professional context, instead of tentatively sharing a plan and soliciting feedback, declare confidently, "Drawing from my analysis and experience, this is the optimal path forward. It's aligned with key objectives or data. If it resonates with your perspective, let's align. Otherwise, propose alternatives that match this benchmark." This subtly reverses the validation flow. Now they're T's. He one's seeking your implicit approval by engaging on your terms, establishing you as the gravitational center of the interaction. What truly distinguishes the elite, the truly powerful few, from the masses? It's their cultivation of psychological sovereignty, an unyielding internal locus of control as articulated in Albert Bandura's self-efficacy theory from Stanford. These individuals derive their sense of superiority not from fleeting external accolades, but from a deep intrinsic mastery over their thoughts, emotions, and actions. They operate from a place of abundance, where approval is a bonus, not a necessity, allowing them to navigate complexities with ease. To build this in yourself, incorporate daily mastery rituals. Each evening, journal 3 specific decisions you made that day without external input, reflecting on the positive ripple effects. Over weeks, this compounds into an aura of quiet dominance that others can't ignore. People will naturally gravitate toward you, seeking your counsel rather than offering unsolicited judgments. For historical and modern anchors, look to icons like Steve Jobs, who epitomized mastery by dismissing external noise and validation during Apple's formative years, focusing laser-like on his vision to birth revolutionary products that reshaped industries. Or consider contemporary leaders like Elon Musk, who tweets bold ideas without polling for likes, commanding global attention through sheer internal conviction. In contrast, everyone else remains mired in the validation chase, scrolling for digital dopamine while you soar above. This fosters a profound sense of psychological superiority, not arrogance, but earned empowerment. Rhetorical question. Are you ready to step into this rarefied air, becoming the one they look to for guidance, not the other way around? Mastery isn't granted. It's claimed through deliberate practice, and you're on the cusp. Pattern interrupt. While most viewers might tap out here, content with basic tips, you're cut from Diffie. Errant cloth, push beyond comfort, and fully embrace this level. The rewards? A life where power dynamics bend to your will, not vice versa. To cement this transformation, let's bridge theory to practice with 3 detailed, immediately actionable real-world scenarios across key life domains: workplace, relationships, and social settings. We'll contrast the old you, validation-seeking and powerless, with the new you, internally anchored and dominant, showcasing the stark outcomes to inspire instant implementation. First, the workplace arena. Imagine a team strategy session where you're advocating for a bold shift in project direction. Old. You might outline the idea tentatively, then undermine it by immediately polling. Sound good to everyone? Any concerns? This hands power away, inviting nitpicks or hijacks, often resulting in your concept being diluted or dismissed, stalling your career momentum. New You, armed with our framework, states assertively, after thorough evaluation, this strategic pivot drives efficiency and results because cite specific data or logic. I'm moving forward with it. Input on execution details is welcome if it enhances. The outcome? Your team respects the decisiveness, aligns more readily, and you position yourself as a leader, potentially accelerating promotions. Research from Harvard Business Review supports this. Self-directed professionals advance 20–30% faster in competitive environments. Second, intimate relationships. Say you're planning a weekend getaway with your partner. Old You proposes an itinerary but seeks reassurance. Is this okay? What do you think we should change? This subtly seeds control, fostering imbalance where your needs take a back seat, breeding resentment over time. New You owns it. I've curated this plan. It's packed with adventure and relaxation tailored to what energizes us. It's set, but if there's a tweak that elevates it, let's discuss. They feel secure in your confidence, leading to deeper connection and equality. Longitudinal studies from the Journal of Marriage and Family indicate such dynamics reduce conflicts by up to 30%, fostering healthier, more fulfilling bonds. Third, social gatherings, like a dinner party where opinions fly on a hot topic, such as politics or lifestyle choices. Old You shares a viewpoint but tags on, "Right, guys, anyone disagree?" Exposing weakness, this invites dismissal or arguments that leave you defensive. New You declares, "From my perspective, this holds true because reasoning, fascinating counterpoints are welcome if they add depth." You become the intriguing conversational anchor, drawing allies and respect. Social psychology experiments show this boosts perceived charisma, expanding your network effortlessly. To apply right away, choose one scenario today, work email, partner chat, or group text, and deploy the New You scripts verbatim. Track the shift in responses. The power reclamation will be palpable, propelling you from reactive participant to proactive victor. Smooth transition. These applications aren't just tactics, they're your new reality. Yet with such potent tools comes the need for ethical stewardship. Let's address that next. Acknowledge this up front. The knowledge you've gained today is profoundly dangerous if wielded irresponsibly. It's akin to a sharpened blade, a seki, weapon capable of slicing through social facades, but also potentially harming if turned predatory. In the wrong hands, these techniques could manipulate others, exploiting vulnerabilities for selfish gain, eroding trust in relationships or workplaces. But that's not why you're here. You've sought this out for empowerment and protection, to armor yourself and those you value against the subtle power games that pervade daily life. Frame it ethically. This is your defensive shield in a world rife with hidden agendas, not an offensive tool for domination. By internalizing this, you're joining an exclusive echelon. The small percentage, less than 10% according to comprehensive psychological surveys from bodies like the APA, who genuinely comprehend and navigate these deep-seated dynamics. That rarity grants you an unparalleled edge, a quiet superiority in interactions where others fumble blindly. But with exclusivity comes duty. Use it to uplift, to model integrity, preventing the cycle of manipulation from perpetuating. Anchor this in authority. As the legendary psychologist Carl Jung wisely observed, true self-awareness illuminates our shadows, preventing us from projecting them onto others. Stay vigilant, ethical, and protective. Wield this wisdom as a guardian, not a conqueror, and you'll not only safeguard your power, but inspire positive change around you. As we wrap this journey, reflect deeply. You're fundamentally not the same person who clicked play 25 minutes ago. You've shattered the invisible chains of validation seeking, awakening to the hidden psychological games that ensnare the unaware, emerging as a sovereign force with bulletproof internal control. From the vulnerable victim ensnared by societal traps and manipulative tactics, you've evolved into an empowered victor, commanding your destiny with unyielding confidence that radiates outward. To keep the momentum, tease what's next. Our upcoming video uncovers advanced strategies for flipping gaslighting attempts on their head, turning would-be controllers into allies. Hit subscribe and notifications to access that next-level content and continue your ascent. End with this memorable, empowering quote. The greatest power isn't in controlling others, but in mastering oneself. Once claimed, it's a fortress no external force can breach. Stay empowered. Stay vigilant. You've unlocked the door to true superiority. Go forth and own your world.